Last week, we looked at the most effective noise-cancelling earbuds money can buy, the $279 Bose QuietComfort earbuds. But of course, as the industry pushes forward, that technology trickles down into the more affordable options, and today we'll be looking at two budget-friendly ANC earbuds. These are the EarFun Free Pro and the EarFun Air Pro, two pairs of noise-cancelling earbuds that cost less than $80. Some of you may remember me covering the EarFun Free a while back, where they emerged as one of the best budget earbuds on the market, especially for sound quality. So I've been pretty excited to check out the new Pro models and see just how good noise cancelling can be in a budget pair of earbuds. Let's take a look. So starting off with the unboxing and accessories, we first of all have the charging cases and the earbuds themselves. We then have the usual paperwork, and finally quite a contrasting approach to presentation with the charging cable and extra ear tips. Granted, the Free Pro earbuds also come with wingtips, so there's more to show off, but the presentation is just a lot nicer too. The charging cases reflect the size of the earbuds, so the Free Pro case is a lot smaller and very travel friendly, although both will fit in your pocket fairly easily. I prefer the design of the Free Pro case though, since the LED indicator at the front is more practical and the finish is slightly more premium looking, but both cases have that cheap plastic feel that you'd expect at this price. They charge via USB-C, but the Free Pro case also has wireless charging built in, which is interesting because these are actually the cheaper of the two earbuds, but you'll see in this video that they still have a handful of benefits over the Air Pros. It takes around 2 hours to charge these using the cable, and for the earbuds themselves, it's a bit quicker to charge the Free Pro compared to the Air Pro. A 10-minute fast charge will get you around 2 hours of playback as well, which is pretty standard. Now, as for the battery life, both cases hold 32 hours in total, but you'll get a bit longer from each charge with the Air Pro earbuds at 9 hours compared to 7. These both drop slightly if you're using ANC, but in general, this battery performance is pretty decent, especially for lower priced earbuds. So, looking at the earbuds themselves, they're both held in the cases by magnets, where the connection seems a bit stronger and more secure with the Free Pros. The Air Pros just don't seem to snap into place as easily, and I actually had some issues getting the earbuds to sit in place properly when using the larger silicone ear tips, which was pretty annoying. They're nice and easy to take out of the case though, whereas the Free Pros can be hard to get a purchase on and are fiddly to take out. You can see the two different design approaches here. The Free Pro have a more traditional earbud shape, whereas the Air Pro have the stem design reminiscent of AirPods, which I'm sure was the inspiration for the name. This design choice ultimately represents the biggest difference between these two earbuds. They're otherwise very similar in terms of performance, so you can pretty much choose between them based on which design suits you best. I personally find that the Free Pro shape fits my ears best. The ear tips completely seal my ear canals, and the silicone wingtips help to ensure a secure and stable fit. The body is super lightweight. In fact, these are advertised as the world's smallest active noise cancelling true wireless earbuds, so you barely notice these in your ears, and the profile is very discreet compared to the bigger Air Pro earbuds. The Air Pros are very comfortable in their own right, since the bulk of the earbud hangs outside of the ear, but I found that they didn't seal my ear canals as tightly or feel as secure as the Free Pros. This is perhaps better for long-term use though, and I know a lot of people prefer the semi-open design, so it's really a matter of preference, but I found both to be really comfortable for even longer listening periods. The advantage of the Free Pro design is that they're more suitable for workouts, since the entire earbud sits in your ear and the wingtip holds it firmly in place. Like the ear tips, you get a choice of different sized wingtips, which at first seem quite cheap and flimsy. You can see that the tolerances on the moulding aren't very strict, and they seem to fit quite loosely around the earbud. But they've stayed on fine for me so far, and they actually do a really good job of keeping the earbud securely in place in the ear. With the Air Pros, I switched over to the larger ear tips, which help them to stay more securely in place, and I was actually able to run with both of these without any problems. I was just more confident in the Free Pro's unshakable fit. If you do want to use these for workouts, then both are protected by an IPX5 water resistance rating, so they're absolutely fine against sweat and even jets of water. The other benefit of the Free Pro's tighter seal in the ear is that they have better noise isolation, so they passively block out more of the outside noise than the Air Pros. The noise isolation here is great, and realistically, it's doing most of the hard work for noise cancelling when you're using ANC mode, but you can still hear the ANC just boost this a bit further when you turn it on, so you can hear the difference compared to the off mode, even though it's only subtle. It works well to reduce those low-end frequencies, like the rumble travelling in a car on the road, but it struggles more with those mid to high frequencies, and these aren't on the level of flagship brands like Sony, Jabra or Bose. You've still got to pay a premium for the great noise cancelling that those names offer, but the performance here is just as good as a lot of the mid-ranges I've tested, in fact even better than some of them. I expect most people will be pretty pleased with the earbuds ANC performance, which are punching well above their weight when you consider the price. Now, as I said, the FREEPROs formed a tighter seal and therefore gave better noise isolation, so it's interesting that the AirPros are actually advertised as having the better ANC performance. They use a 6 mic setup as opposed to the FREEPRO's 4 mics, and are supposed to offer superior noise cancelling, which I assumed is why they're more expensive. I didn't find this to be the case myself, but it really does depend on your ear shape, the ear tips you use, and how good a seal you can achieve with these. I'd expect because of the AirPro's semi-open design that most people will have a similar experience to me though, and ultimately the ANC performance is close enough that you should just pick the earbuds that you like or that fit you best. Both earbuds have 3 different listening modes: ANC on, off, and also an ambient mode. The latter turns on the mics to let you hear your surroundings, but I didn't find either earbuds to be especially transparent. It's much easier to hear your surroundings than the off mode, of course, so it does work, it's just that some earbuds do a better job with this. The AirPro's ambient mode is slightly more amplified and louder, but there's also more of that hissing sound you sometimes get. So in general, the ambient modes here are fine, but nothing amazing. Now, there's no companion app with either of these earbuds, a classic drawback of the more budget-friendly options, which means no extra features and no customization over the controls. So the way that you can cycle between the listening modes and control your music playback is by using the earbuds touch controls. There's a similar control scheme for both, but a few more options such as volume control with the FREEPROs, and the touchpads are much more responsive here too. It takes a much lighter tap to trigger the control, which is really important, especially when it takes a triple tap to change the ANC mode. With the AirPros, granted you have more space to tap on, but it takes an uncomfortably firm tap to trigger the command, which constantly mistook a triple tap for just a double, and vice versa. No companion app means no way to change up the controls, so I typically just used my phone to control the music instead. Also, if you find you keep accidentally hitting the touchpads, for example reaching up to adjust them, you might find yourself messing with the volume, and you can't disable the touchpads either, so that's something to consider too. Aside from volume control, there's also a low latency mode with the FREEPROs, triggered with a tap and hold on the left side. This is supposed to take the latency down from around 200 milliseconds to 100, and therefore enhance movie and gaming experiences. I personally couldn't tell a difference at all. The latency was plenty low enough in the normal mode anyway, and I think if you're that keen on getting it even lower, then you're best off with a wired pair of headphones. This mode shortens the Bluetooth range and the connection became pretty spotty, so I just turned it off. But it's interesting that this is another exclusive feature that the more expensive AirPros don't have. One thing I really like about the AirPros though, is that they have an auto pause and play when you take out and put back the earbuds, which the FREEPROs miss out on. It can take a second or two to kick in, but it works pretty reliably and helps to make up for the finicky touch controls. As for the microphone quality, both earbuds do a pretty good job of picking up my voice for phone calls, but as you can hear, they also pick up a lot of background sound as well. You're listening now to the EarFun Free Pro, which I think have a slightly louder and clearer voice, but not as good isolation. Switching over to the AirPros, the 6 mic setup does show its advantage in louder environments by doing a better job with isolating my voice. My voice isn't quite as clear as with the FREEPROs, but the traffic sound in the background is quieter, so you'll likely find these better in louder environments. Just before we hit the audio quality, I'll quickly touch on connectivity to say that both earbuds gave no issues at all with connection stability or range from my phone, as long as you avoid that low latency mode gimmick. There is a slight difference in the Bluetooth version, and again, the cheaper FREEPROs get the newer 5.2 version, but this ultimately doesn't result in any obvious performance or feature benefits. You can also use either the left or the right side on its own for single earbud use, but as you might have guessed, there is unfortunately no multi-point support, but I think that's fair given the price tag. And finally, there are also no fancy codecs, we just have SBC and AAC, though I must say that adding in aptX support would really have been the icing on the cake. So, audio quality. This is an area where EarFun have impressed me in the past, and the Pro earbuds do not disappoint. There's deep and powerful bass, but it doesn't muddy the sound, it just gives a really nice richness and weight to the audio. There's more of a warmer tone with the Free Pro earbuds, and the bass seems to hit harder, but mainly because there's a better seal, so the audio is more immersive. For that reason, I think they sound better in noisy environments where you need that isolation. But in a quiet place, you'll actually hear that the sound is a bit more open and spacious with the Air Pros. The audio is just more crisp, and vocals are more forward, so I think the audio is technically higher quality with these, but the bass doesn't thump as hard as with the Free Pros, so there is a trade-off. The Free Pros are also louder than the Air Pros, which were a little on the quiet side, but max volume will still be far too loud for most ears. So these both sound great, there's a surprising amount of detail here, and these sound better than a lot of earbuds double their price. But you've got a warmer, more bassy tone with the Free Pros, and a more crisp and higher clarity sound with the Air Pros, so you might want to factor this in with your listening preference. And so the final thing to say is how much these cost, which is really the USP of these earbuds. The EarFun Free Pro are selling for just under $60, whilst the Air Pro are selling for just under $80, both of which are fantastic prices for what's on offer here. I still don't fully understand why the Air Pro are more expensive, and you can see from this list that there are some exclusive features and benefits to the cheaper Free Pros, which make them my favourite of the two. But prices will vary, and as I said, you should ultimately pick the design you like best with these. On the whole, I was seriously impressed by what these earbuds offer. Of course, you get some reminders that these are relatively cheap earbuds, like the robotic-sounding voice prompts and generic beep tones, the plasticky charging cases, and especially of course the lack of a companion app. In some ways, this makes everything a lot simpler. What you take out of the box is exactly what you get, and there's nothing you need to set up or any settings to change. But the flip side of that, of course, is having no customization, if say you don't like the control setup, and there's no way to update or add extra features in the future via software updates. So those are the things that hold these earbuds back, but really only from the flagships and the earbuds costing $100 more. The actual earbud performance, the battery life, the ANC, the sound quality, these are all well above what you'd expect at this price, and for that reason, I would have no hesitation about recommending either of these earbuds. Can you get decent noise cancelling earbuds for under $80? Absolutely you can, and if you're interested in buying these, then I'll leave some links down below for you to check out. These aren't affiliate links, and I don't make any money at all if you do use them, but EarFun were kind enough to give me some discount codes, so feel free to use those. That's been it though, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.